Hey, this is Samuel from samnuka.com, and I want to thank you so much for stopping by and going through this training with me. In today's training, I'm going to give you 5 storytelling tips for your business, okay? So this is specifically tailored for my online business owners, but the principles can actually be used for offline business owners as well, okay? So if I told you storytelling would be the reason for failure or success in your business, what would you say to that? All right, you probably think I'm crazy, but let me go into a little bit further and see if you agree by the end of the training. So, storytelling tips for your business. Number 1, start with a story. Now, when it comes to any content that you put out there, okay? Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you actually start with a story. Reason being is that actually brings people in to what it is that you're doing. Now, you're probably thinking, hang on, dude, you didn't start this presentation with a story. Yes, you're right, okay? And that's my mistake. I should have done that, okay? If you go ahead and read the blog post, you'll see that I actually started with a story of how I went about learning storytelling secrets from the master of doing it, from a gentleman who actually does it with Hollywood. And the course was valued at $997, right? So it's $1,000 to learn these secrets. And I'm here giving you 5 of those tips to help you out with your business, okay? So start out with a story because it helps bring people into what it is that you're actually doing. And it doesn't matter if it's a email or a blog post or a video or an audio, it might be a podcast, for example, but you make sure you start out with a story to kind of really bring people in, because we are actually conditioned to go through stories and to hear stories and remember stories a lot better, because actually we don't even remember stories without even trying, because the emotional investment that we have in it when we're actually hearing it, okay? As opposed to, facts and figures. Sometimes we remember the numbers that are important to us and tend to forget the rest. So the way you want to structure your story is ENTER-CATION. Okay, well, that sounded absolutely terrible. So perhaps maybe you'll agree more with edutainment, okay? What you want to do is you want to educate people, but you want entertainment at the same time. Edutainment, right? This ENTER-CATION on my screen has got me a little bit confused. So the way you go about doing that is that you tell stories, right? In telling stories, it is actually entertaining people naturally, because that's what we're hardwired to do. However, you can add in twists and turns to that story to make sure that you're educating them at the same time. And I'm sure you'll agree, as I do, that the best stories that I've found out there when it comes to business building, personal development, so on and so forth, are the ones, especially the ones that you remember, right? And that's what we want to do. We want people to remember our business stories, are these stories that not only educate us, but also entertain us at the same time. So I see people out there that are always sending out facts and figures, and that's great. Look, if you keep doing it, honestly, content is content. If you keep putting it out there, eventually a certain amount of people will resonate with what it is that you do, right? And they will buy based on your recommendations, because you've become an authority to them, right? However, if you can learn how to entertain and educate at the same time, you'll be able to do a lot more damage with a lot less people in terms of the bottom line, right? You'll be able to make a lot more money and serve a lot more people, because they'll be a lot more invested in what it is that you're actually doing, okay? So try to start with a story by edutaining people, all right? Storytelling tips for your business. Number 2. You are actually interesting. I know when I first went through that training and they were telling me to tell my stories, and do so in everything that I do. All the content that I put out there, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or my daily emails, blog posts, share your stories with your prospects and your customers, because that's how you're going to connect with them. And I'm sitting there going, dude, I'm just like, a home-based solopreneur, an entrepreneur that works from home online. My life is actually quite boring. I mean, I have 5, facets that I focus on a day-to-day basis. But I mean, how entertaining can that really be? Let me tell you, when I go into this a little bit further, okay, that I was so far from wrong that people will fall in love with your journey and what it is that you're going through. There is a reason why they're following you, because they're interested in what you're actually doing. And therefore, even though your stories might seem boring to you, or let's say a quote-unquote hater, right, someone who's going to troll you, that's fine. You're not looking to do business with them. You're looking to do business with a certain group of people at a certain time, okay? And the way to do that is to connect, is to actually share your stories, because that's going to help polarize the market is what they call it. In other words, it's going to separate the people who are interested in what you're doing and the people who aren't. Okay, and then you focus in on the people who are. Way you do that, okay, is you share your stories in blog posts. Now, how do you go about doing that in blog posts? Is what I would suggest is actually reading the blog post of this video training. Okay, I'll put the link at the bottom. For anyone who's listening to the audio or watching the video, you'll be able to see a link in the description that'll take you to the full blog post, okay? Because I cover things in this video that isn't necessarily in the training, but I also cover things in the training that isn't necessarily in the video, okay? They work hand in hand. You will be best edutained, right? You see how I did that? Put you back to point number one. By going through both forms of content, okay? It'll do you best if you go through both. And in blog posts, you want to share multiple stories, okay? Because that's how you lengthen your blog post to make Google happy. But also, if you add in multiple stories, you're also going to make the followers and the readers and the subscribers that are going through that content happier, because they're going to be more entertained or edutained with what it is you're actually doing, instead of just giving them hardcore facts and figures. Don't get me wrong, okay? I love facts and figures. You know, when I first started blogging, you can go and look back at some of my earlier stuff. I was all about the facts and figures because I thought that's what people wanted. How wrong was I? People want to be edutained. People want you to tell stories. They want you to engage in what it is that they're actually doing. You see what I just told you there? I just told you a little story in a storytelling tip for your business's video, right? I just told you how at the beginning I made a mistake, and that I've realized now the errors of my ways, and I'm correcting that as I go, right? I'm refining what it is that I'm doing. I just told you a story, you know, and you're probably sitting there going, oh yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. I might actually check that out. You see how that works, right? Okay, so number two, email. How do you use it in email? Emails are a lot smaller than blog posts, in my opinion. Blog posts, you want to aim for like 1,000 words plus. I'm not saying it has to be. I'm just saying that's probably what you want to aim for. It's been proven scientifically, okay? Scientifically, statistically, factually, that longer blog posts get more traffic from Google, right? So the longer it is, the better off you'll be. The more stories you share, the better off you're gonna engage with people, and therefore the better results you're gonna get. When it comes to email, you're sending out one email every single day, right? So that's another difference between blogging and emailing. So with your emails, obviously, you're going to be putting together a daily email, right? And if you're thinking, well, that actually wasn't so obvious to me, then you need to go through some of my other training. I'll put a link below where you can get my email marketing comprehensive guide that's going to teach you all about daily email marketing. You have to do it in order to connect with our customers and with people. And the reason why that works so well is because you can share little stories. Let's say, for example, you know, I woke up this morning and I had breakfast here by my shit, right? That's a terrible way of using stories in email. But if, let's say, for example, I said something along this line. Look, I woke up this morning and I was just vibing. It felt great, so I went ahead and had my breakfast. Whilst I was waiting for my breakfast, I got a message from my mentor. My mentor says to me, Sam, what are you up to today? And I said, oh, look, dude, I just got up and I'm just about to get onto my porridge. My mentor says to me, Sam, I've been awake for 3 hours working on my business, okay? So now you're wondering the difference between my success and your success. I've just given you the answer, okay? So and then as I read that message, a fire lit up in me to the point where I actually did not finish my breakfast. I got straight on the computer and I worked my ass off for 8 hours. I put together a blog post. I put together this video training for you. I put together this daily email just to let you know about this kick-ass training that I want you to, you know, have a look at. And I put together as well an audio on SoundCloud if you prefer to listen on to the audio. Okay, so go ahead and check this out now. But look, let me remind you just before you go ahead and do that, you know, if you want to work with me in building your business, if you want me to be the mentor and to impart the knowledge onto you to motivate you to be successful at your business, you know, go ahead and check out what I'm doing here so that we can partner up and start working together. Okay, you got this. Make it happen, Sammy. P.S. Have you checked out that offer that I've given you yet? No? Well, go ahead and check it out right now. Okay, so look, I just told you a story, and there was a difference. Therein lies the difference between spammers, right? I had porridge this morning. Here's what I do, buy my shit, right? Versus the story that I told you. Did it take longer? Of course it took longer. But if you're sharing stories, right, then your trainings will actually, not only will your emails be a little bit longer, people will be more invested in what it is that you actually do. They're going to get to like, know, and trust you more, which means that they're more inclined to do business with you, okay? I'm really hoping that you're starting to see how storytelling is so important for you and your business, okay? Video. Video is somewhere in between blogging and emailing, right? So I don't like videos to be as short as emails, even though I do put them out there, 2 to 3 minute videos, because personally, in my own life, I don't gain a lot of value from 2 to 3 minute videos because typically 1 to 1.5 minutes of it is content, and the other 1 to 1.5 minute is an intro, a sell, and an intro, a pitch, and a close. Right? I mean, there's no real value in it for me. I'd rather sit down and put together videos like this, 10 to 15 minutes long, that have a lot of value in what it is that we're actually doing, so that by the time you finish the training, you're like, shit, that was actually worth my time. I'm so glad I went through that, right? So for me, when I like to do videos, I like to do videos between 8 and 20 minutes long. 20 minutes might be a little bit on the long side. You want to aim for probably around 8 to 15, to be 100% honest with you. And you want your videos to embed stories with basically anything that you're sharing, okay? Because videos are so much more engaging with people, and people like to do business with real people, and real people are people with stories, right? I mean, how many people do you know that don't have any stories at all, right? And I guarantee you, if they don't have any stories at all, you probably don't like them. Sure as hell wouldn't do any business with them. You catch my drift? Okay, so that's how you go about using storytelling tips for blogging, emailing, and video. And look, I've got training for those 3 specific topics just below in the description, okay, that I'll put there for you to go ahead and check out. So, storytelling tip for your business number 3, create curiosity. Now, this training I will cut back a little bit shorter because there is already a training that I've put together that's all about headlines, and headlines are all about curiosity, right? You want to talk about benefits, you want to give them bullet points, you want to make sure you use what, why, when, where, and how in that particular headline, and you want to try and use a number if you can, because that will break up the rigidity of the actual letters. So remember, this training is tailored specifically for my online people here, okay? So for all the offline people, you can use this obviously to create your headlines for your local advertising, right? Or if you want to do some online media advertising, that's fine. Use the headline training that I've put in the link description below to go ahead and create curiosity. There are some great websites that thrive not off the content that they put together, because quite frankly the content is horrible, but simply because of the headlines that they craft. Like for example, this girl was about to be robbed, but what happened next was amazing. How can you not click to see what happened, right? Unless you're aware of those tactics, you've already clicked before you finish reading the line, because you're like, holy shit, I got to see what happened. But I've been caught with those things in the past, but since I've done the training, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to know what happened. I'm pretty sure something did, and who really cares? But before the training, before I went through doing what I did, before I went through building my online business, I was like, damn, I got to check out what this is. It created so much curiosity that I could not help but click. Okay, so go ahead and check out that training. Storytelling tips for your business number 4. Tell the truth or maybe. Okay, so this is another training that I'll refer to my blog post for examples, okay, because I basically tell the same story, but what I actually do is I tell them slightly differently. I tell one in sort of a matter-of-fact kind of a way, like I would actually write my email, right? Like it's factual. Well, not necessarily factual, but it's like how it actually happened, And then I told away like a Hollywoodized version of the story. You use a lot more sensationalizing words like amazing and unbelievable and all that sort of crap, right? But here's the thing, it does actually sell, right? It does actually create more curiosity, and it helps to polarize your market again as to the people who are actually curious in what it is that you're doing. Okay, so when it comes to this storytelling tip, whether you want to tell the truth or not is completely up to you. Remember, when it comes to movie categories, when it comes to books, I mean, how many different types of genres are there? Drama, action, comedy, romance, horseshit, right? Well, okay, well, maybe that's not a genre, but there's a bunch of movies that should be in that genre. My point is this. It's up to you how you want to tell your stories, okay? Don't go lying about numbers, right? Don't go saying, hey, look, I got really excited about this course, and I made $1,500 yesterday just by applying one tip, when in fact you didn't apply any of the tips and you didn't make any money at all, okay? Don't lie. But can you twist the truth, so to speak, to make it more interesting? Absolutely, okay? I'm not telling you to twist anything, all right? I don't twist anything. I tell the story as it is. I don't like mixing stories up. I don't like, fabricating the truth, because for me, if someone watches a video and they're like, wow, that's a really cool story, and that's what they connect with, or they read an email, or they read a blog post, or they listen to my soundtrack on SoundCloud, they go, man, that was really cool, and they connect with that story. And then, hey, when I sit down with them and have that one-on-one coaching session, they go, dude, do you remember that one story? I don't want to be sitting there going, hang on, oh fuck, I made up that story. I can't remember what they're talking about, right? No, I want to tell factual stories that actually happen, so that when people sit down and talk to me, I go, yeah, and the funny thing about that was this. The cool thing about that was this. One thing I learned from that was this. You see what I'm saying? So look, it's completely up to you how you want to tell your stories. For me personally, I like to keep it 100% non-fiction. Okay? Storytelling tips number 5 for your business. Practice, practice, practice. Now, look, I know this shit might seem ridiculously obvious, but the simple fact is that when it comes to your business, you need to practice. A lot of people understand this principle when it comes to, let's say, for example, the gym. They know if they don't eat properly and they don't exercise regularly, that they are going to gain weight, or they're going to get really unfit or really unhealthy. Maybe even all three, right? But what people don't realize when it comes to your business, that, hey, like all these things is skills. Learning how to tell a story is a skill. Learning how to sell is a skill. Learning how to put together a presentation like this is a skill, right? They're all skills. None of them are out of your reach. They can all be practiced and gained and applied for your maximal profitability, okay? Maximal. I don't even know if that's a real word. If it isn't, feel free to call me out, man. Much love. I appreciate it. But look, Michael Jordan, had all the natural abilities, all the natural talent, all the game in the world, but he still practiced hour after hour after hour, right, in the gym every single day with the coach, right? I guarantee you when he wasn't in the gym, he was watching game tape to try and figure out what the opponents were doing or how to improve his game. And the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant, the man himself, right? I remember reading an article that shaped my life forever when I was a teenager. The article said, Kobe, how did you get so good? How did you go from essentially a nobody off the Lakers bench to this rising superstar, partnering up with Shaquille O'Neal for multiple championships? And he said, any day that I was not playing a game, I was training up to 8 hours per day, right? Particularly in the off season, right? In the off season, this dude was putting in 8 hours a day in the off season, right? To better himself, so that when the season came around, in other words, he was waiting months until he actually had the opportunity to show what it was that he was practicing, to see the actual fruits of his labors. And over years and over years and over years of practice, he got to the point where he was being compared to Michael Jordan. Right? That's amazing. When you think about it, he actually came off the bench for the Lakers when he started as like a 17-year-old kid. Pretty sure he was on the bench for like 2 or 3 years, and then bang, all of a sudden he's like 21, 22. He's ripping up the NBA. 2 or 3 years later, they're having conversations about the next Michael Jordan. This training obviously isn't about Jordan. It's obviously not about Kobe Bryant. It's not about sports at all. But it does reiterate the fact that you need to practice if you want to get better at whatever it is that you are doing. Storytelling is no different. Sit down and write. Learn how to write. Write out your emails, write out your blog posts, write out your social posts on Facebook. Even if there's 0 people following, dude, let me tell you a story, okay? There you go. So I just went about to tell a story without even realize that I'm doing this training on storytelling. That when I started out emailing, I had 0 people on my list. 0, right? And I asked my mentor, I'm like, dude, I don't even think I should bother emailing, because, there's no one on my list. What's the point? And he said, you need to hone your skills. You need to practice, okay? And I said, yeah, I get that, but why? And he goes, well, because you want to hone your skills now, because when you start, you're going to suck, man. When you start, you're going to suck. You're not going to be any good at this. What you want to do is you want to build your skills so that when people are on your list, you can actually convert them. And sure enough, he was dead on right. I made my first $1,600 plus day, right, when I had 7 subscribers on my email list. I had a $1,250 day when I had 12 people on my email list. You think if I didn't practice before I had those people come along and join my list, that I would have made any money at all? Hell no. Okay? Practice, practice, practice. Whatever skills you require in your business, get to practicing it. Okay? So, what to do next? The first thing I'm going to say is subscribe to this YouTube channel. Okay? It's not going to be hard. Just click on the subscribe button and you're in, and you'll get notifications of the trainings that are coming up, because I guarantee you they're going to help you with your business moving forward. Number 2, what you need to do is you need to subscribe to my email list, because I share And you'll be able to see these storytelling tips that I'm telling you through my daily emails, right? You're going to get actual live feedback, and you're going to be able to watch and go, wow, look, Sam actually does share his stories. I mean, shit, he's telling us about his kids and how they went to the movie. And then look how he tied that shit into business, man. That was wicked. How'd you do that? Right? You're actually going to be able to see that what I'm training is what I do, okay? Because what I do is based on what 7 and 8 figure mentors have taught me. Big dogs that are making millions, right? Guys that really have figured out this game, right? Guys that really know how to convert, how to make money, how to sell, all that sort of stuff. That's where I come from, okay? Those are my mentors, and I want to help impart that knowledge onto you. Furthermore, if you want to check out more of this training, go ahead and click on the link below to go to the blog post itself. But make sure, the very most important thing out of these 3 is to get onto that email list where I have subscriber-only content, okay? The trainings, the audios, the blog posts, that's all public stuff, right? Everybody gets access to that stuff. My subscribers, they get subscriber-only information. All right, so take care, much love. Thank you so much for going through this entire training. You really must be one of a kind. Very few people can actually get through an entire training. I respect you a lot more than you even realize for having done so. Okay, so take care, much love, and I will talk to you again soon.